All right. So, hello everyone. This certainly has been a unique and exciting HiveFest this year. I hope you've all been having a blast so far. Sorry about those technical difficulties that we experienced earlier, but I'm glad the glitch was resolved, so I'm here for you guys now. So, I'm Cryptomancer. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a software developer from Seattle in the United States, but I've been living in Japan for the better part of 20 years now. I got into crypto when I bought my first Bitcoin in 2015, and I learned about Ethereum soon after. And Ethereum's whole concept of smart contracts really blew my mind. I thought, wow, this is going to change everything. So, fast forward a few years, and here we are with the potential of smart contracts starting to be realized. However, it's become clear that Ethereum is running into some scaling problems. Transactions can take several minutes to confirm when the network is congested, and transaction fees can get quite expensive. Today, I'm the lead smart contract engineer for the Hive Engine platform, and it's a great honor to be one of the people helping to bring smart contracts and all the power that comes with them to the Hive blockchain, which has fast transactions and no transaction fees, I might add. So we nicely solve those problems that Ethereum is running into. So I'd encourage anyone thinking about building on Ethereum or similar platforms to consider coming and building on Hive, making use of all that Hive Engine offers. I think Hive is a really great place for your business to call home. So, all right, when people think about Hive Engine, probably the first thing that comes to mind is the Hive Engine crypto exchange. Now, just like Hive has multiple blog sites, such as hive.blog and peakd.com, which hook into the same blockchain on the back end, Hive Engine also has multiple websites, all sharing the same backend. In fact, anyone can make a front end for Hive Engine. The engine team maintains two such front ends. On the left of the slide, you can see what we call Hive Engine Classic. This is the website that most of you are probably familiar with. On the right, we have TribalDex. TribalDex is still experimental and in the beta testing stage, so we haven't really been promoting it very much. It does everything that Hive Engine Classic can do, but it also adds the ability to create and manage NFTs. But Hive Engine is so much more than just an exchange, just like Hive itself is so much more than just a blogging site. So, what exactly is Hive Engine? Well, to put it simply, it's a second layer sidechain that adds smart contracts, additional fungible tokens, and NFTs to Hive. By second layer, I mean it's not part of the core Hive blockchain itself. It runs alongside Hive as its own separate blockchain, or sidechain as we call it. And it's important to realize that Hive Engine transactions are themselves Hive transactions. So when you do something that uses Hive Engine, the typical usage scenario is you would click a button on a website, like, say, transferring tokens from one account to another. And this opens a keychain window, prompting you to confirm the transaction. You do so, and keychain broadcasts some custom JSON to the Hive blockchain. This custom JSON is really an encoded command telling a Hive Engine smart contract to do something. So the Hive Engine software, in turn, detects the transaction on the Hive blockchain and executes the corresponding smart contract action, then stores the result into the Hive Engine sidechain. So we see Hive Engine is really a smart contracts platform. Developers can build apps on top of Hive Engine, and just like blogging is only one of a large number of applications that run on Hive, so too is Hive Engine's crypto exchange just one of many applications in the Hive Engine ecosystem. You can imagine the Hive Engine ecosystem being kind of like this iceberg. The exchange website is really just the tip of the iceberg. So what lies beneath? Let's look at some examples of the apps that utilize different features of the Hive Engine and see how you can leverage the same features to build out your own blockchain-based business. So first we have fungible tokens. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with these tokens. They're your normal, regular, everyday crypto tokens. For example, Leo or dark energy crystals used by Splinterlands. Now, if you were going to launch a project on Ethereum, say, you would need to deploy your own token contract and have quite a bit of technical know-how, which is a pretty big hassle. But with Hive Engine, anyone can create their own token very easily just by filling out a form and clicking a few buttons. So it's very, very simple. And if you want to start a community around your business, you can create what we call a tribe that is powered by your own token. Tribes give you blogging websites that act a little bit like how the long-awaited smart media tokens were imagined to work. So to look at an example of a tribe, this is a tribe called Splinter Talk, which is themed around Splinterlands. It's basically a copy of the default condenser blogging site for Hive, but reskinned a little bit. So this tribe is powered by the SPT Hive Engine token, and it has all the functionality you would normally expect from Hive blogging. You can write posts, you can comment, vote, all the normal things that you know and love about Hive. But instead of getting paid in Hive or HBD, your post payouts are going to be in SPT, the Splinter Talk token. So this gives you a ready-made community to assemble around your business. Now, the next layer of the Hive Engine ecosystem is NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, and this stuff is really exciting. Unlike regular tokens, an NFT has various data properties that make each token individually unique, and they can't be subdivided into smaller pieces. Splinterlands cards are one great example of an NFT, and there are literally limitless possibilities for how you might use these things. With NFTs, you can digitize things such as art, game assets, precious metals, even real estate. I think in the future it would be really awesome if I could put my house deed into an NFT. That way I wouldn't have to worry about it getting lost or burned up in a fire. It would be permanently recorded in a blockchain, so I would know it's safe. And just like regular tokens and tribes, anyone can create their own NFT. It's very fast and very simple. So to look at some examples of NFTs, I'm sure you all know NFT Showroom. This site allows artists to digitize their artwork and sell them as Hive Engine NFTs. In this case, the NFT acts kind of like a license, recording your ownership rights to the artwork you purchased. And another example is the popular D-City game, which I'm sure many of you are also familiar with. D-City is a simulation game, the blockchain equivalent of the classic SimCity. So you build up your city one building at a time, and each of those buildings is a Hive Engine NFT. And I think one of the best things about Hive Engine NFTs is they exist independently of the application that created them. They live on the blockchain, so you can use them in any application that's designed to work with them. For example, here we see a third-party marketplace app called NFT Mart. This marketplace allows you to buy and sell NFTs for both D-City and another game called Rising Star, which is pictured here. So you can imagine a whole bunch of these different marketplace apps all competing with each other to be the best place for exchanging your NFTs. And very similar to the way that in Splinterlands we have different card markets popping up. And that brings us at last to the bottom part of the iceberg, the foundation that everything else is built on, which is smart contracts. A smart contract is basically a piece of computer code that executes on a blockchain. It takes certain inputs in the form of a blockchain transaction. It does something with those inputs to alter the blockchain state, and then it records its output. And absolutely everything in Hive Engine is a smart contract. Tokens and NFTs are themselves smart contracts. You probably use smart contracts every day without even knowing it, perhaps. So when you do things like transfer a token, or buy a D-City card, or sell some dark energy crystals on the market, you're using Hive Engine smart contracts for all of that. And right now, adding more smart contracts to our toolbox is our most active area of development. So Agrod touched on this a bit earlier in his presentation as well. But the idea is businesses can utilize these as building blocks to construct apps without having to reinvent common blockchain plumbing. So there's no code needed. You just configure the smart contracts and away you go. The contracts are all modular, designed so you can pick and choose just the ones you need for your application and not worry about the rest. So to look at some examples, on the left of the slide, we've got the Pack Manager contract. Pack Manager gives you a Splinterlands-style pack opening mechanism for collections of NFTs. And again, I'd emphasize there's no coding needed. You just configure the contract and you're good to go. For example, let's say maybe you want to build a war game with different editions of NFTs for different periods in history. And you want your NFTs to represent military units, so maybe you'll split them into different groupings for naval, air, land forces. And say you want to create a fungible pack token, which players can buy, and then open to generate the NFTs. Well, no problem. Pack Manager can do all of that stuff. It's a very flexible, kind of generalized pack opening mechanism. And this exists today, right now. It's already done. It's usable on the back end. So you technically minded folks can go in there and start using this right away. However, we're still working on the website front end for it. So the web stuff, which will make it easy to use, that will come a little bit later on. Another example, airdrops. So maybe you want to publicize your project by doing an airdrop. Well, that's also really easy. You can just take your list of targeted accounts, feed that into the airdrop contract, and then the contract handles the rest, so you don't have to worry about it. On the right side of the slide, we have the mining contract. The mining contract allows you to set up economic simulators. You can stake regular tokens or NFTs, and then in return, you get other tokens back. There's also a governance mechanism that lets you burn your tokens in order to influence the various mining parameters. And Agra had mentioned the farmer.farm game. This was built as a very simple demo for this contract, showing how it works. Now you can scale up the complexity quite a bit. So at the more extreme range, you could use it to build something quite sophisticated that approaches, say, D-City-like levels of complexity. And Hive Engine smart contracts can duplicate the functionality of anything built on Ethereum. So that's also one of the things that I really like about them. It's a very generalized system. Now, Uniswap, for example, has open source smart contracts. So one thing we intend to do early next year is port those contracts to Hive Engine. So maybe by, say, Q2 perhaps next year, we'll have Uniswap-style liquidity pools on Hive, and anyone will be able to create a pool for any token with just a few button clicks. So I think this is a really powerful thing. Hopefully you can begin to see how these contracts can be combined, mixed and matched in various ways to suit your individual business needs. And we're going to continue to expand our smart contract offerings in the weeks and months ahead. So we've got things like an auction contract on the way. We're planning to do prediction markets, all sorts of stuff. So in closing, Hive Engine is basically a giant smart contract toolbox, giving you everything you need to add blockchain capabilities to your business with a minimum of fuss. We give you all the tools that you need to succeed building up your blockchain-based business, and how you use them is up to you. So that's it. I know we're running a bit behind schedule, so I'm not sure. Do we have time for questions, Roland?
Yeah, the raise hand for a bit, so we've got already 3 questions. Thanks for the presentation so far. So I'm not just gonna go one by one. I'm gonna first give the microphone to Sarah. Yes, Sarah, you have the. Please ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Sarah, do you have a question? I can't hear you, Sharvy. Sharvy, are you here? Do you have a question? Amplified here. Okay, I will disconnect you for a bit and then we'll just go ahead with Bambuka. I just activated your microphone. If you have a question for Cryptomancer about Hive Engine, go ahead. Please mute and unmute if you have a question. Bambuka in room 2. Okay, then I'll go to...
If you guys find it hard to ask questions here, you can also feel free to visit us in Discord later on. So you see the Discord link on that slide there. We're always happy to have a chat with people whenever you got questions about stuff.
So I've got Priyanka. Do you want to ask a question? Your mic is on air. Okay, then I've got Jarvie. Do you want to ask a question? Yes.
I'll ask a question then. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yep, I can
All
hear
right.
you. Go
So
for it.
what is Hive Engine's plan to, or do you have plans to decentralize it so that we're not completely dependent on your company existing forever?
That's a great question. And yes, more decentralization is definitely something that we're aiming for. That's kind of our long-term vision. In order to do that, we're planning to set up a witness system, very similar to the way that Hive witnesses work. So the vision is everyone will be able to run their own Hive Engine node. In fact, you can run your own node right now. It just doesn't have that peer-to-peer consensus mechanism built into it yet. But you can run your node today to verify transactions and the state of the sidechain and whatnot. So we're aware some people have had some slight concerns about decentralization, and we definitely want to move more in that direction over the next weeks.